my first question is,
What was my childhood like?
yes.
Well, pretty typical. Growing up in Brooklyn and going to school and uh, uh, just delivering newspapers on the side and wanting to play an instrument and going to school and learn how to play a stringed instrument, violin and cello. And then I decided that I really didn't care for that. I wanted something more. So I ended up playing percussion. And I just started little by little and just practice and practice and practice. And before you know it, I was playing.
Ah, nice. Um, when did you meet Mark Reale?
I met Mark Miralli in school. In I think that was like fourth grade in beginning school at the very beginning in public school, and I remember this very clearly. I was in the halls going to another class, and then he was coming down the stairs, and I was going up the stairs, and we just looked at each other, and when I didn't think anything of it, when about 2 weeks later, um, he came to my house, not knowing it was me that he seen in the hall that day, answering an ad about playing music. And I looked at him, I go, "Hey, I know you." And he said, "Hey, I know you too." And then we found out that we live in the same neighborhood. And his mom brought him over and with his amplifier and his guitar to my house. And I only had like a little single drum. We just started messing around, just playing down my basement at the time before we even went to his house. So I met him in fourth grade, yeah.
Okay. When did you start playing drums?
Age 12, about the same time he started playing guitar. We started playing our instruments together. He had he had grandparents that gave him his first guitar. And I had gotten the one snare drum as a gift. And both didn't know what we were doing. We just know we wanted to play them. And we just listened to other people. And then when the Beatles came to America, we really, like most people, really got into that and decided that it was so cool that we wanted to do something like that to make money. And we ended up going in that direction.
Ah. Um, when did you decide to form a band?
Well, me and Mark were friends, and we're doing that stuff with the guitar and the drum, that one drum. And we still went to school, and then we had other interests. We both liked playing football in the street. We both liked playing hockey. We both, he liked making movies, and then I helped because I was always at his house anyway. He lived 3 blocks away from me in Brooklyn. So I spent more time at his house than I did at my house. And we would just play music as a part-time thing. We had other interests. We just started fooling around with music when it was too cold to do anything else, or it was, on weekends. It was just part of like a thing to do. It wasn't an everyday thing. So we just made time for it. And we ended up, it's a very long story about how we started, but it started in school. We met in school, and we started playing down the basement just for kicks, and did other things in between. So I would say, we started playing together in the, I would say, I don't know, 1968 or 69, things like that.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Oh. Who came up with the name Riot?
I came up with the name Riot because we couldn't think of a name, and we weren't good at making up names. We played block parties early on with the name Kontiki, Kontiki, and I named the band Even the People, and then it was Green Tea, and then we had Mark and I are both big fans of the TV show The Honeymooners, and we used to watch it every night. Back then they showed it every night at 11:30, and even though we've seen each of them 100 times, we just kept watching them because it was that good. It was that good of a show, we think. And we would always watch it, and you were always hearing Ralph say, you're a riot, Alice, you're a riot. So I just turned to him one night and said, why don't we just call the band Riot? And it stuck.
Did Ralph always said you're a riot, Alice?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
That was the signature line in the show, like, "Yo, you're a regular riot, Alice." And of course, it was funny, but I thought it was. I just said, "Why don't we just call the band Riot?" And it stuck. And he didn't say anything, so I meant that. That sounded to me like he was in agreement, and he just kind of like laughed, and I guess it ended up that way.
Oh,
that's a true story. Yeah, really true story.
Oh.
In fact, at the beginning, we thought we'd change it up a little bit and spell it R-I-E-T, but then that didn't last very long, so we just went back to the regular way of spelling it.
Which is R-I-O-T?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did the original Riot formed?
Well, it was me and Mark, and we were fooling around with other instruments. We started getting good at it, and we decided we wanted to make a band. And we knew that we couldn't sing, so we always felt that we wanted to have a guy that just sang. That would be great. If he played a little instrument on the side, that would be okay. But somebody, a front man, who would just sing would be great. And then we concentrated on getting just a singer and a bass player because we wanted to be a three-piece, like a power band, and then high-energy rock band. That's what we were into. So that's what we shot for. That's the kind of band we wanted at the beginning. That's what we had. That's what we did. It was me, Mark, Phil, and Guy. We played as a three-piece, and Guy sang, and that's how it started. The add-ons, other people came in later on.
How did Guy got in the band while you were in a three-piece?
Well, it was me and Mark, and then we put an ad out for a bass player, and Phil answered the ad, and then we jammed, and then we decided it was a good fit. And then we still wanted a singer, and they're not easy to come by, not easy at all. So back in those days, on Saturday nights, every weekend, every Saturday night in the summer, there'd be several bands playing at different blocks all over the neighborhood. We would walk from block to block and listen to the bands because it was a real popular thing back then. Mm-hmm. Now they use DJs and they use recorded music, but back then it was really nice because there were big crowds and there was live music, and you could just go from block to block on a Saturday night in the summer and check out all the bands, competition, so to speak. So Mark and I were walking to the next block party, and Guy was singing with this other band called For Shake's Sake, S-H-A-K-E-S, For Shake's Sake, right.
Okay.
And we saw him singing, just like, we knew right away we got to get this guy. He's the guy for us. And we talked to him later on after they finished playing. We told him we played too, and would you like to join our band? So he says, well, let me come over to your house and see the kind of stuff that you have, and we'll talk about it. And he did, and one thing led to another, and he ended up joining the band, quitting the other band.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember the ad that you sent on to get a guitar player, and how you got Lou in the band?
Well, I don't remember the ad word for word, but after it was us four, me, Mark, Phil, and Guy, we decided to get another guitar. And then, we had a lot of people come over, and not from ads, just people we knew, and we didn't like them or they weren't good enough. So we went to look for ads in the classifieds, and we found Louis, and Louis came over, and he was from Queens, the next borough in this. He's not in Brooklyn. We're all in Brooklyn now, so he's in Queens, which isn't really far away, but it's just it's far enough away. He had to travel to get to us. So he answered the ad. He came over. We played right away. We knew he was the guy for us, and it stuck.
Did you hire him because of his influences?
No, not at all. We hired him. He fit good with the band, and he's a good guitar player.
Oh, okay. Okay. How was that like on the earlier days when you were playing with the club?
It was fantastic. I mean, back then, there were a lot of them, and you could not play the same club, twice. You did the circuit. You went around. It was Copperfield's at Club 82 and Max's, and which was a big one, and CBGB's where the Ramones were born, and it was great. I mean, we never got paid. We busted our ass and we sweat like crazy, and we were all living at home. And thanks to Mark's parents, they supplied us with a place to practice and a mail truck, an old mail truck, so we had transportation to get over. We had to move our own equipment, and we just got jobs in Manhattan and went there to play, and ended up opening up for other bands, and ended up getting a following and being the headlining band. So it was fantastic. We didn't make any money, but it was a lot of fun. It was great.
Okay. How did you met the producers, and how did the producers recognize you?
Well, we were playing in Max's Kansas City one night, and then we found out that we had to play Club 82 the next night. So we played. We were a regular band at Club 82 at this point, and we played. As usual, they loved us. But like they say, you never know who's sitting in the audience, no matter where you are. So after we played, they approached us and said, we're not really music producers. We write commercials for Chevrolet and Coca-Cola, but we see a lot of potential in you guys. Would you like to record an album with us? We have our own studio down in Soho. So we said, yeah, sure, and they said, great. And that's how we met them. We met them after the show in a club. They took an interest in us and approached us and asked us if we wanted to be part of a New York City bands album, like many bands on one album. And we recorded a couple of songs to go on this album. The Best of New York Bands or something. I don't know. It was like a Battle of the Bands album kind of thing. But it never really materialized. They wanted to, in other words, hog us all for themselves. So they didn't really want to share with anybody. So the album thing never worked out. But we ended up sticking with Billy and Steve, and they ended up recording us exclusively.
And did that how Rock City started? It's just because of that one album that was never released or never been completed or never been planned, and then it just started to a new idea, which is Rock City.
Rock City was the first album, and Rock City was the name of a song that we did. We just wrote the songs and we played the songs, and the name of the album and the cover and all that other stuff came way after. We had no say in that. They decided to call it Rock City. But there was first a song called Rock City, and I guess that was the title song, the most catchy. So they figured that would be the best bet to call it Rock City, named after the song Rock City.
Going into more, what was the earlier songs that you wrote before you met the producers?
Well, we did a lot of cover songs. We were just like a lot of bands when they first started out. We play a lot of cover songs. Of course, the ones that we liked. We were very big. Guy was very big on Foghat and blues and boogie bands. Phil loved Kiss. Mark and I loved Montrose. Edgar Winter, Johnny Winter, Rick Derringer, that whole circle. And Louis liked that stuff too, but he had his own influences. So when you put that all together, it made us what we were. We wanted to be a high energy rock and roll band like Montrose. We didn't want to be like everybody else at the time, which was punk rock. Punk rock was real big, and we really didn't like punk rock. Like the Ramones kind of music. We just didn't like it. We wanted to be like a high energy, clean and pressed band. With tennis shoes and colored, clothes, and maybe not a hair glam band, but we just wanted to be a clean, high energy, clean and pressed rock group, and that's what caught our attention, and that's what we shot for. That we didn't want to conform to being something else that they tried to make us that, but we really didn't want to go the Johnny Rotten, or Sex Pistols route. We didn't want to do that.
Okay. Going into a little bit more onto the music and the songs. Who co-wrote Warrior?
Mark Guy and Steve Costello, who came in to play keyboards on that track. He wasn't in the band that long, but he had some input on that particular song.
Oh, okay.
He didn't play with live; it was more in the studio thing.
Oh, okay. Did Louis got a lot of ideas to create the debut album? Did he originally wrote a lot of songs on the first album that he did not get credit on?
Yeah, he contributed things on the first album that he didn't get credit on. Yeah, he did. I mean, it wasn't 100%, but he did do things that really never showed up on paper. Yeah, he did.
The reason why that he co-wrote the stuff, was it because Mark was sick?
Oh no, Mark was never sick back then.
Oh, okay.
No, this is something that developed in his body during the time way after the band broke up. I mean, back then, we're only we're 20 and 21 years old. There was nothing wrong with him.
Oh.
We saw each other No. We were all healthy.
Oh, okay.
No, sickness had nothing to do with it. We ate whatever we wanted back then. No, he didn't. The illness that he passed away from, there was no signs of that back then. Not in the Rock City, Narita days. No, not at all.
Oh, okay.
Not at all.
All right. Did you have any great moments while you were touring with the Rock City lineup and the early lineup?
Yeah, I mean, we were all friends. We all grew up together, and we all wanted to make money playing music and be successful. So there was great moments, so many. I couldn't even begin to tell you which ones. There was so many. I mean, playing in the clubs, finally being handed a record on vinyl, finally seeing our songs on an album was a high point, and playing our first concert in the big hall in San Antonio, Texas was a high point. And we were like a close-knit family from Brooklyn. We're all Italian families, and people live close together in houses, and you're Italian, and you're streetwise. You're not growing up in the country, so there was a lot had to do with it. It's like the mindset of what you are develops into something that you concentrate on. So between what we are and what we strive for, made us what we were.
Oh.
Your environment, in other words.
How did this second album got its start?
Well, we had the first album and we played out, and they liked it, and I guess it's the same for all bands. When you make an album, they expect a second album, and they usually get better as they go on, because that was our first album. We had a lot to learn. We were all young. Nobody was better than anybody else. We wanted to grow musically together. That was the plan. And Narita came along as the second album because it was time to write more songs for the second album, and they did, and we ended up recording them. And when you get enough songs, you have an album, and then you work on it. You play that, and then you go from there.
Now getting into to Lou. Do you remember the songs that Lou wrote or helped wrote?
No, I don't remember. I don't remember details like that, but he had a hand in the main riff in the 49er and Warrior and a couple other things. But I don't remember every detail what he was involved in. You'd have to look at the credits on the album to see what he got credit for. But there were things that he didn't get credit for, and 49er was one of them.
Oh, okay. Okay. What was behind the idea of the Baby Seal on the first album?
Well, Billy and Steve were our producers during the first album, and back in 1977, late 76, early 77, there was a political issue in this country about the Canadians clubbing baby seals and killing them for their fur, for their skin. And they didn't think anything was wrong with that. But the people in this country felt that was really cruel and unusual punishment for any kind of creature. So they figured that if they used that as a political ploy to attract buyers to our record album, if they saw it in the store, they would buy it. So they used it as an eye-catching, tactic to sell records. And I don't know about the names Eddie or Joe or whatever they called it, but back then there was no names for this baby seal. So they used the baby seal face to kill humans. That was the signal it was supposed to send out to people. Like, how do you like it if we kill you and destroy your cities? So that's what the picture is about on the first album. Baby seals taking over the human race because of what the Canadians were doing to baby seals. So it seemed to have worked because it was a good idea.
While you were not around and when Riot continue on, they start naming the seal either Johnny for the first time, and then fans called it Mighty Tior, which I pronounced it right. So I know at the earlier Riot that you told me there was absolutely no name, but I just thought I would to ask you: have you ever heard that Riot was started naming the mascot?
Yeah, I've heard it, and I've read a couple of pieces about it, but all in all, back then we weren't even thinking about things like that. It was just a picture, and it was just an artwork for an album cover. There was no name. If there was, it came way after me, and like I said, we weren't even thinking about that. I'm sure it was inevitable that thing would get a name, that seal would get a name, but there was none for all the years that we were around it. Nah, not at all.
Oh, okay. What was the idea behind on the second album?
Well, they kept that theme, the baby seal attacking the human race because it was wrong for us to kill them. So now, a true story is in Japan, Narita means airport. And what they did was they built an airport over a cemetery. And they kind of like one of those things where you leave the bodies and you only move the headstones kind of thing. And now the seal, whatever Johnny, whatever you want to call it, is shown on the album cover, protecting the sacred burial ground of the deceased trying to stop civilization from doing what they're doing, building an airport over a sacred burial ground. That's what they're trying. That's what it's trying to depict. Uh, Johnny is in now another political role, protecting Narita Airport or protesting at Narita Airport against the Japanese building an airport over a sacred burial ground. So it was just another political event happening at the time. Yes.
Okay. Getting into more into the album. Why did you decide to do a cover of Born to Be Wild? Was it because it's your favorite song to play?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. We played a lot of songs. I mean, we played Humble Pie, Peter Frampton, and Kiss songs, and anything that was popular at the time. And Steppenwolf was, was a big band at the time. Born to Be Wild, Magic Carpet Ride, The Pusher. All those songs were big then. They had just come out with a live album. So it was simple. It was fast. Mainly because it was fast. Because Riot always played fast stuff. We liked that upbeat, fast stuff. Like Rock Candy and Space Station #5 and Good Rockin' Tonight, especially Good Rockin' Tonight by Montrose. So anything like that, we loved to play. And Born to Be Wild was fast and it was easy. And we played it so many times, and we were just playing it in the studio one night, and that stuck as well. So that's how it ended up on the cover, on the album, because we just liked playing it. I think you had mentioned once that you really liked that version of it last time.
I have I have heard other versions of I have heard other covers of Born to Be Wild. So far in my top 5 list, I think Riot would turn into number 1. It's the best Born to Be Wild cover of all.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, it was. Yeah, a lot of people liked it. It wasn't a biggie. It wasn't a big, but it was a song on the album that made it on the album.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm glad people like it.
Well, not to knock everything out of it, but you cannot top better the original.
Yeah, it's a popular song. Definitely. No, we're not trying to outdo anybody. We like playing it, and God likes singing it. It's a lot has to do with his vocal range and how he felt about it. I just went along with everything, but ultimately they have to be comfortable. They have to be comfortable with it. Because they're out in the front, and they're headlining and starring and everything. I'm just backing up, so I just go along with whatever they want me to do.
Okay. What was it like touring with the Narita lineup?
It was fine. It was great. We started out young, and we grew up together, and we ended up playing our first concerts together. We ended up traveling together. We ended up flying in the plane for the first time for all of us together. We ended up staying in the hotel and sharing rooms together, and meeting a lot of people together. We were pretty closed off as a group. We really didn't do much. Mark, Guy, me, Phil, we really didn't go out much. We didn't do drugs. We didn't drink. We didn't party. We were pretty boring people. We really didn't do much. Going to the beach, Mark would never do things like that. Mark would never go to the beach or socialize, really. He would just stay by himself. But Guy and Mark and Phil and I, we would go to restaurants and go to beaches. And if Guy had a girlfriend, we would drive around. Just nothing fancy. Just stuff in the neighborhood that we would do together. Mark didn't go with us that much. We were probably on our own a lot. Mark went some things, but a lot of things he didn't like. So it was all right though. Whatever not everybody likes everything. Everybody's different. So
yeah.
So that wasn't ever a problem. But it was fine. It was great. And but things started changing once we started getting successful. Unfortunately, it's I wish I could, change a lot of things. We were screwed over, you know,
Oh, I,
a lot. Yeah, like with money and things, like technical stuff, papers and contracts. Well, you don't realize that when all you want to do is make music, and you don't really pay attention to the other stuff. But if you want to be successful, you really have to. You really have to. It's a business, and we could have done a lot better in that respect. We should have done a lot of other things better in that respect. But you live and you learn.
getting into videos. The one video there are two videos I have in my channel. One of them is the 1971 movie, and the movie was called Riot Attack the World. Can you tell me about that?
When it came to making videos, they decided what club date would be the best to film, what times, where we were playing, what would be the best crowd and the best situation for filming. That was decided by the management, and there really isn't much to tell. We never knew when they were going to do it, but they felt that it would be more natural if we just played and they surprised us. So they decided when to make the video and how long it was going to be and things like that. We really didn't have anything to do with that.
Is there any other video exist on the Narita lineup?
All of us have personal videos and photographs that have never been released, just like homemade movies. I have many homemade movies of Mark and I as kids, and in black and white, and going back to the early '60s and late '60s when we were 11, 12 years old. And I have a lot of pictures, many of them which I put on Facebook, but I don't put everyone out. There are some that are really really special, and I don't want to show everything. I have I have like a huge collection of pictures because back then, for some unknown reason, I was always taking pictures of this or that or important things and things that weren't so. I just like taking pictures of things, and nobody else did. So it stands to reason that now, all these years later, I have all these pictures that of us young and doing things together that no one else has, and I put a lot of them on YouTube, on Facebook, and people seem to like them. But I have a lot more, and a lot more homemade stuff that we made as kids, But it doesn't pay to put them out because it's just it wouldn't make any sense to do that. I would like to save some of that, and I would like to make an internet book of my experiences with the band and put all that into one little, maybe like a book, and do that. That's what I would like to do. This way I could keep it all in one place and get it out there to people. Maybe they enjoy reading it and looking at it.
Just like this things that I'm talking with you.
Well, yeah, like Peter Criss's wife, Lydia. We were friends with Peter Criss from Kiss. And we met his wife, because he was from the same neighborhood. Well, not the same neighborhood, but in Brooklyn. And he came over to watch us practice a couple of times, and he was a good guy, really nice guy. Really gave us some good information. They were at their they were at their peak then, But he still made time for us, which was really nice. So it was really a thrill to have him come over and listen to us practice. He didn't have to do that, but he did. And his wife, they're divorced now, but his wife has a book out on the internet, and she calls it Sealed with a Kiss. And she wrote about her experiences with her ex-husband, Peter, and what life was like back then. And I want to do something like that.
Oh.
That's what I like to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any other personal video exist on the shows that you have done?
Oh, sure. Stuff that wasn't even made by our management. Stuff that we had our friends hold the camera and film us. things like that. I mean, that happens a lot. There's a lot of that. I mean, we didn't have cell phones back then. We didn't have digital. We didn't have 8mm or VHS-C or even VHS for that matter. That big video camera you hold on your shoulder when they first. We didn't even have that. We just had these little brownie cameras and these little put the film in the camera and turn the key and wind it up and start filming, making movies kind of camera. Those old kind of cameras. You know, I don't even know what millimeter it is. It's real old, and you just wind it up and you just take movies. And yeah, we have a lot of those, but you know, they would have to be processed. And I guess the smart thing would be to have them put on CDs. And you know, but I haven't done that. You know, I haven't done that myself. Other people, I don't know what they have, but I know what I have.
Okay. I have been. Me and the Riot fans were kept looking for those shows because the only video that they have to view is the Riot Attack the World and the 1981 video, which is my father's place.
The videos that we made were made in Rock Palace in Brooklyn, so I know of two big ones that are actively on YouTube right now, and there were a couple more that were removed by the producers. So, you know, for whatever reason, but there are two still out there. Those are the only two I know of. I don't really know of anything else. Honestly, I really don't.
Okay. Okay. How did you got out of the band?
I don't know. Mark was my friend, and what happened was he didn't really he really didn't start acting the same. I mean, we all changed with the little bit of success we were getting, but a lot of us handle it differently, and he handled it his way. And I don't really remember. I mean, we were in the band, and I was very hurt and very saddened by the way he handled this. I don't know if it was Billy and Steve, our producers, brainwashing him or talking to him, but he didn't seem the same person after getting all the attention and success that we started to get. A lot of us stayed the same, but some of us didn't. They changed, and the friendship didn't seem to matter anymore. So that was the sad part, that we started this together as a group, you know, as friends, and then instead of sticking together and having a plan against outsiders, meaning people who were going to try and take us and make us something that we're not, we didn't have a plan. So Mark went off on his own and decided that the band doesn't exist anymore, and nobody told me, nobody called me, and it was very hurtful, you know, after 15 years of all this, you know, not to be, included in at least a decent explanation about things. So no, I was never told anything. Yeah, so that's what bothers me the most, that nobody would say anything about anything, you know, because according to them, the whole band broke up, and I'm hearing all different kinds of stories, and I never got to speak to Mark about it because there were so many years between the time I seen him and his death. So I haven't really, I guess I'm never really going to know, but I really don't know.
And same thing happens with Lou, because he didn't even know how he got out of the band, and I assume that you don't even know how he got out.
Well, I know that we were playing upstate New York with Journey with Louis, and I know that we were in the studio with Phil, and they decided that Phil is not going to be in the band anymore while we were recording in the studio. They told him that they didn't want him in the band anymore at night during a recording session because they felt he wasn't good enough. So he left right then and there, and I never really agreed with that. I didn't think that was right, you know, because we're all we're all learning. We're all good enough to do what we're doing, so give us a break,
Yeah.
But they didn't. So then with Louis, we were playing upstate outside concert with Journey, and they told him after the show that he's out of the band. And we went home, and he stayed there. So I didn't like the way they did that either. So it's not, you got to remember, it's not us making these decisions, it's them. And we didn't really have a lot to say about it because, like I said before, we didn't do our homework. And you got to in this business. It's really, I wish I had it to do over again. We would all do things differently, as far as lawyers and rights, and equality and all that. But we didn't do it. So all these bad things happen.
Would you wish that you would go back to a time machine and then change the earlier stuff, like getting a lawyer and all that stuff?
Yeah, I do, because so we had a good relationship. We had a good band. We had good families behind us. We had good friends. We had a good place to practice. We had a roof over our heads. We had food in our stomach, and we were doing what we liked. And except for the outside people who came in and destroyed everything, sure, I wish I can go back and change it. Yeah, because it would be a wonderful thing.
Okay, here's the ultimate question, and everybody is on a hot topic right now on the Riot story. How did Riot got screwed by the producers?
Well, it's not that they did anything, any one single thing that did it. It was a culmination of things. They singled out. I think this is my opinion. I think they singled out weaknesses in the personalities of the band. Me not being one of them, Rick not being one of them, Louis not being one of them, Guy not being one. They single out the most susceptible guy, and that was Mark. Okay, usually lead guitar players get all the attention and singers anyway, but in this case, they singled out Mark, and they would talk to him privately, away from us, which was, I think, not right. So they were telling him all kinds of stuff, and do this and do that, and think this way and think that way, and Mark started actually going along with it. And I guess that was his mistake, that he shouldn't have went along with it. He should have realized what they were doing, but he didn't. And that was the beginning of the problems. They started doing it in subtle ways through Mark, influencing his thoughts and his ideas to kind of like go along with what they wanted. So I guess they were using Mark in a way to get things done. But they knew they couldn't do that to us because we were a little stronger in that respect. We asked questions. We didn't just say yes sir or no sir to everything. We just said, well, why do we have to do this? Where's the money? Why do we have to do that? How much are we going to get? Where are we playing? How much is your cut? What do we get? We didn't do that, and they kind of left it up to him. And then that's how little things like that over time end up being, I don't know, I guess you could say, screwing us.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't happen all in one day. It was over time. They were very, very sly. They were very, slick. They were businessmen. They were in the music business. We weren't. They knew what to say. They knew what we wanted to hear. And they said, listen, we had a contract. They gave us a contract, and we did bring it to a lawyer. And the lawyer said, this contract sucks. So we went back to them and said, our lawyer says this contract sucks. So they turned around to us and said, listen, you want a record contract or not? And we said, yes, we do. Need I say more? And that was the end of it. Our starry eyes and all these big dreams that we had overtook our sensibility, and we ended up saying, yeah, we want a record contract, and we didn't go along with what the lawyer said, even though he told us it was a bad deal. So, yeah, I guess you could say we got screwed in that way. We kind of did it to ourselves in a way, but they didn't help matters any by doing what they were doing. So ultimately, you have to blame them. We were stupid about it, but yeah, it was there. It was there. They egged it on.
But the more articles I read on the Riot lineup, they say it was always the producers and Mark Reality's words on the in the article. I did not hear any other former Riot band members in any other articles. I just thinking that nobody paid nobody paid attention to the other people in Riot, but now today they're curious of what their side of the story is.
Yeah, I believe that, and it's like I told you before. Like you just said what I said before. How they zeroed in on him, and it was them three against everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of things that people don't know. I mean, everything I'm telling you is the truth. I mean, I can go on and on and on because I was there, and I was very close with him. I mean, we grew up together. And it was me and Mark before anybody, before we got anybody, before Phil, before anybody. I mean, we used to just, like I said, we used to play music and play football and all this stuff, and we had other interests. So over time, it evolved into what it was. So nobody has a clue. They only go by what they read, what other people say. So I can't go around, I can't go around telling everybody everything because one, nobody's ever asked me before. You're the first one, and two, a lot of it disgusts me so much. I don't even want. I'm so tired of talking about it. I just said let people think what they want to think. I know what the truth is, and someday if I write that little book, it'll come out.
Do you ever get tired by by just explaining the Riot story?
Well, sometimes, yeah, but I don't get tired of it. I just not that many people ask me about it because it was a long time ago, and I see Louie on a regular basis because we both live on Long Island, and I see Phil at the Riot reunion, the original Riot reunion. Nobody else was allowed. And Mike Castellani, we grew up with. He was a sound man. He's a sound man for the New York Mets at Citi Field now. So most of the people, thanks to the reunion we had almost a year ago, last January, was a lot of fun. Everybody got together, all the road crew and the original members of the band, of course, minus Guy. Mark was alive at the time, but he really didn't partake in that kind of thing. He wasn't around. So it was nice to catch up with all those people and their families and their kids and find out what's happening. And we still keep in touch. Louie and I jam regularly, and on Monday nights at the club over here on Long Island, we get up there and we play songs. Which we're still trying to get the guys to learn some Riot songs, but we get up there and we have an open mic night. I do a lot of playing on my own every day, although not in the band. Got a day job. We all have day jobs, so it's very much a part of our lives. We just don't. We just don't go around, talking about it much. I don't get tired of talking about it, so not really.
Okay. What was the band members like? Like, did you guys get along? And how was the other band members like, except for Mark, which I already read all about it.
At the beginning, like I said, it was me and Mark, and everything was fine. Then as things started getting more serious with the band and outside people controlling the band, it wasn't so fine. I always got along great with Guy. Mark is Mark. I mean, he was an only child. He was shy. He was introverted. I guess I was in the way too, but not as bad as him. I would go out and do things, but he wouldn't. So he was more or less, in his own world. Even though he was nice and cordial and everything, we were different. I got along with Phil, and I didn't like it that they got rid of him. I got along with Phil great, as a matter of fact. He's a good friend of mine. Even Louie, I got along good with Louie, and Rick. Rick came after. Rick was from the neighborhood. I really didn't know him. He came in after Louie. Mark believed in getting guys in the band for convenience. Mark wouldn't go out and the extra mile and look for an ad and pass on this guy and pass on that guy and get somebody good. He would just, oh, okay, he lives around here, he lives around the corner, we'll get him. That's good enough for me. You know, it was convenient for him. So that's how Rick came into the band. And even though Rick and Jimmy are good players, I'm not saying they're not, but they came into the band because they were from the neighborhood, and it seemed to be less of a hassle getting guys that we've known through other people than getting an ad, getting a total stranger from an ad. So we got along fine. But like I said, as things went on and got more serious, it wasn't so fine. And you know whose fault that was, right? You know, the management. You know, people like that. I don't want to mention names, but it was the people who were controlling the band, and it got to be a serious thing, which is not a problem, but you know, it should be fun too. And they took all the fun out of it. So, you know, again, I have to say that if you're starting out and you're in a band, you got to be friends first, and then you have to have legal advice. No matter what they tell you or who you are or where you go, you got to have somebody watching your back. It's business, and if they get offended by that, then that's not the kind of people you want to associate with. You want everything out in the open. You know, you want it to be a good relationship and everybody. You want to be successful. You want to make money, but you don't want to do it on the sneak, and you don't want to do it hurting people. So if they really are interested in you and they want to take care of you and nurture this band and make it grow and make it something special, then you all got to work together. And we didn't get that from them. It was like us against the world, them against us, and we were divided. And that's not the key to success. You know, you gotta have an understanding, and we didn't have that. We did at the beginning, but they took it all away from us, and we were just pawns in their game of whatever they were playing.
When was the last time that you ever spoken or seen with Guy Speranza?
The last time I saw Guy was when we played a concert in Texas, and then we went home because we didn't have anything lined up, and we took a rest. We each went our separate ways for a while, and that's the last time I seen him on stage.
Okay.
After the show, yeah.
All right. Now going into Mark, when was the last time that you have spoken with him and last seen with him?
The last time I saw Mark was I was in San Antonio on vacation, and I went to a concert with a girl I knew from. She was an acquaintance of the band, and she took me to the concert, knowing that Mark was going to be there. And I think it was an REO Speedwagon concert in San Antonio. I was just a spectator, and she went backstage and got Mark and brought him out, and we started talking. And he said to me, you know, hi, how you doing? Blah blah blah. I'm not in the band right now, but I'm trying to put something together, and if it doesn't materialize within X amount of days or whatever, we said, I don't remember, it was so long ago. He said, we'll do something together. And I'm thinking that this is part of that westward thing that he was trying to do, this band. There was no ride. He was trying to form something together. So I'm not really sure, but I think that he was between bands, and that was when this happened. And that was in 1980, 81, I think. Last time I seen him was at REO concert, yeah. Face to Face, yeah. That was it. Oh, no. Yeah, then after that, I was in a band in Texas called Stryker, Stryker, playing a popular club there. I was in a band, and he came down to watch us play, but I spoke to him before we played, and then he left. I didn't see him after that, so I would say like 1981. Both of those things happened in 1981. Yeah.
That was the last time that you spoken with him was when he was on the Finer Down Under tour, right?
Well, no, because there was no band then. You see, he was between bands. Yeah. So I don't know. Like I say, I don't know about all those other guys and all these other albums when that started. I mean, there was a space between Narita and whatever happened after that, and Guy was part of that, but then he got out. You see, so I mean, even though Louie and I weren't in the band anymore, Guy still was for a little while after that. And then he left, and then he didn't. Then it was totally different after that. I mean, Jimmy didn't. He didn't trust them from the beginning. I mean, he really had a bad feeling about these guys. So Jimmy and Guy, kind of like escaped to Florida together and didn't want to do it anymore.
So, okay, why don't you want to express your own opinions about the other Riot, the other Riot lineup?
Well, because I think that that was our project that we formed as little kids, and it was a special project. And I think that I believe that when you have that kind of magic from the neighborhood and being young and put so much time and effort into getting these guys to play, that's something that can't be replaced. I think that the original lineup and the magic that we had still appeals to a lot of people, and a lot of people see that. I'm sure you can go on, you can get people to play. There's a lot of great players in the world. You can make music until the cows come home, but I'm old school, and I believe what I believe, and I believe in the original is always the best.
Well, yeah.
It laid the groundwork for whatever there is to come. So because most people don't know what it was like to live day in and day out back then with us as a group, there's a lot of things they don't know, and there's a lot of things they're not going to know because it's too lengthy and it's too involved. And they just wouldn't get it. But my belief is that anything original, the sweat that if you would have known we went through to, as me, Mark, Guy, and Phil, and Louie, if you would have known we went through to get this ball rolling, I mean, it would just like blow your mind because we really suffered.
Yeah.
We really did without. I mean, we had nothing. I mean, we really gave it 120% every night. I mean, I would have my clothes would be so soaked that every night after we played, I would wring them out, and we would try to fill up this bucket. And every night we would try to get past the line. We'd make a line on the bucket, say, "Oh, can you beat last night? Oh, you didn't do it. Oh," all those kind of things, like a contest. Can I have more sweat on a Tuesday night or the night before, kind of thing like that. I mean, we really had nothing. We really suffered. We just kept trucking, kept at it and kept grinding and grinding and grinding and digging and digging and digging until finally, it paid off in a way. I wish it would have been different people, but I'm not sorry it happened. I'm glad it happened. I just wish that we would have known more and done a better job at protecting ourselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Getting into the cities that you have played in, would you say that San Antonio, Texas is your favorite place to play?
Hands down.
Okay.
No contest.
Okay.
They have a reputation. Well, that town breaks bands. They broke AC/DC and Rush, and they made them what they are today. We're not the first ones. I mean, we play with a lot of places. I mean, all over. But San Antonio was really a great rock and roll town, and it still is today.
Right.
I vacation every year. I had gone down and seen Mark. I went to visit Mark this past July, and saw his wrestling place and paid my respects and talked to a couple of people there. I sat down there and had a long talk with the guy, and it was very therapeutic.
Well, I saw his grave on. I saw his grave on a picture on Facebook, and I did pay my respects there by saying I'm a big fan. I'm making music videos for your band, and I hope you like them. I hope you like them on the up in heaven, wherever you are at. So
yeah,
that's how I pay my respect to him. there a possibility that you can do a show with you, Lou, Rick, and possibility the bass player, which is your original bass player with a new singer?
Phil?
Yeah.
Yes, it's possible.
Okay. Does Phil still play the bass?
Yes, he does.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Does he play in local shows, or what band was he in? Just asking.
Well, now he doesn't play in the band, but he still plays. I mean, he lives out here, and he played. Well, he played with us, and he played with Billy Idol, and he played with what's that girl? Joan Jett. Yeah. So, but he still plays, but he'll only play like as a stand-in. Like, if you go see a friend play, and he'll go up there and play. Just for fun.
Oh, okay. And
Yeah, he does.
what are the other two videos that you know of?
There's the Riot Attacks the World thing, then there's the one in Great Gildersleeves, and then there's the one at actually there's like two at Rock Palace, and one at Gildersleeves that I haven't seen in a long time. I know of two more that I haven't seen.
Do you remember the songs that were in there?
Yes, I do.
Can you name them if you can remember them?
Let's see. Angel with a Broken Wing and Desperation and Rock City and Overdrive and This Is What I Get and Tokyo Rose and possibly Heart of Fire, mostly from the first album. The second album hadn't been out yet.
Oh, okay. Are you going to be in Louis' new album, which he is now working on in the studio?
I'm supposed to be, yeah.
And what is the update? What is the update of that?
I don't know. How do you know about that?
I heard of Lou that is working on an album on his studio, and I heard in an interview that you were supposed to be on there, and I thought I would ask you about that and how the progress is on that.
Did you ever interview Louis?
No, Aaron Kahn did.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, maybe that's why I heard it. I haven't heard anything from about that. I don't see him every day, but he said that if he ever does anything like that, because I'm always kidding him about, oh, you didn't include me on the first time you did it. He goes, well, I didn't know who you were then, but if I ever do it again, you'll be on it. So when he lets me know, I'll be ready.
Oh, okay. Looking forward to that, by the way.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
What was it like jamming with Mark back in the earlier days?
Oh, it was a lot of fun. We did it so much, and well, all the time, so much. It was always a lot of fun with no pressure, just playing in the basement. Just with Mark and with the local guys, or Mark's father's brother, or Mark's cousin, me, Mark, and his cousin, the bass player. That's what we did a lot. We did a lot of jamming before we even made a band, before we even got Phil or anybody.
Ah. And what was Mark like? Like him in personal in the earlier days when you started in fame?
Very quiet, very into sports and into making movies with the local kids in the neighborhood. And music really wasn't high on the agenda. It was took a back seat. So I was the one that always wanted to play. And then, because everything took place at his house. He had a basement where his parents let us practice as much as we wanted, and they encouraged him. But he was mostly quiet, liked sports. We both played in the football league because we got tired of playing touch football in the street, so we wanted to play with shoulder pads and equipment and tackling, so we joined the local football team. And we planned to be on the same team, but they split us up. So that didn't work out like we planned it. We both wanted to be on the same team. He went on to the Spartans. I went on to the team called the Knights. And we ended up playing against each other. And then we would do that once a week. And then we would, play music at night if he felt like it. It all depended. He was very, very, unpredictable and quiet and just, into a lot of different things at the time until music became the priority, which didn't happen for a long time. But, he was just a regular guy, just a streetwise guy like us, grew up in Brooklyn. Just a regular guy.
Nice. Do you miss him?
Yeah, I miss him. I haven't seen him in a long time, but I can't believe he's gone. Guy is gone and he is gone, and it's just those kind of things you don't think about when you're in the band playing together. It was just really, really shocking. There was a lot of years between us. I don't like a lot of things that happened, and I don't like a lot of things that he did as far as, not letting me in on certain things and being with him from the beginning. I think I deserved a little better than that, but, what are you going to do? What's done is done. I have regrets, and I think things should have been handled differently. But I miss him, as a fellow musician. I haven't seen him in so many years, so I'm just really shocked at this whole thing. I remember him being one way as a kid, and then being in the band with him and hanging out over there all the time, all the time. And I don't know if it's not like you miss somebody that you haven't seen them. I mean, I miss them because I think it's horrible what happened and the way the band broke up. So I miss him in that respect. I don't miss him like seeing him every day. I miss him, I miss him. I miss playing in the band with him, yeah.
Oh, I see. Well, to me, in my opinion, I just think it's really sad to see him go.
Yeah, it was.
Was there any other bands that you won when you were out of Riot?
I just played in a lot of local bands and bands in Texas that really didn't amount to much because I just like to play. So that was also a long time ago. So it really, didn't matter. I didn't have any responsibilities then. We were just playing around in bands, and money didn't matter then. But things change.
Mhm. Like, I heard that you were on a band called Striker. What was the
Yes. Yeah.
what was the story behind that? I went online to search the name, and I could not find anything that involves you. So, what was the story behind on Striker?
Stryker is the way we spelled it.
And I typed it that way, and nothing came up.
Well, I don't think it would because we really haven't accomplished anything. It was just we just played bars in West Texas and in San Antonio. A girl that I knew who was a groupie of the band, who was a Riot groupie, a Texas Riot groupie, said that I should, after the band broke up, I should come down there. And she introduced me to her friends who played in a local band in Texas. And she says, I think you'd fit in good with them. So they put me together with Steve Norman and David Montgomery and Andy Rodriguez, Rick Rodriguez, and made a four-piece band, and we called it Striker. And it was weird because I had been in Riot and I been all over and done all this big stuff, and these were just three local guys, like, that never did anything. So I was so far ahead of them in many ways. It just didn't. I just couldn't. I just couldn't deal with it after a while because it was like taking so many steps backwards that it just didn't pay for me to keep doing it. So I just so it just broke up after a while. I had just so much experience and they didn't have any, so it led to problems.
And the band didn't even record anything. Like, it didn't really record any demos or anything.
Yeah, we do. I have a demo. We recorded 2 songs on a demo, on a cassette. Yeah, we did.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I have it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. In the very first debut album, which is Rock City, I'm just asking, is there a piano playing in the background?
Sure. On some songs there are. Yeah, Steve Costello. Yeah, we brought Steve Costello in as a friend from the neighborhood to play keyboards, and he really didn't tour with the band, but there was a keyboard on the Rock City songs in the studio. So no, he really didn't play with us live, but he played with us in the studio on some certain songs. Yeah, Steve Costello.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir. We used it on Rock City and Warrior and a couple other songs. Yeah, well, it's in there.
Okay. All right. Would you say that Mark Reale is a really good or a great guitar player?
I don't really know. I haven't. I haven't heard him play. I don't listen to anything. He was really good when we were together, so I'll have to say that. I wouldn't say anything else because I really don't listen to any of that stuff, any of that new stuff. I would say really good guitar player. Yeah, without a doubt.
All right. Do you still play with members of Riot?
Yeah, I play with Louis.
With 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 him on the local bands or a cover band with him?
I play in cover bands with Louis on in clubs on certain nights that are it's for free. You know, like it's open mic night. So we meet, and then anybody who wants to come up and play gets up. Everybody takes turns. So when it's our turn to play, they usually pair me with him because it's better that way. That we should play together instead of mixing us up with somebody else. It's usually on Monday nights, by the way. And Phil still lives. Phil. I haven't played with Phil yet, which I would like to. I would like to get Louie and Phil together and play. But Phil hasn't. We haven't been able to coordinate it where Phil is there. It's mostly me and Louie that hook up and play. Yeah.
How was the Riot reunion?
It went well. It went very well. Only the original people were invited, and we got to see. We got to see each other after all those years, and they brought their wives, and it was a nice gathering. The reunion went well, and it went so well that we're going to try and do it more often. We keep in touch. We found everybody knows where everybody is now, so everybody's there. Everybody's there except Guy and Mark.
Next time if you're having a Riot reunion, are you hoping to get Jimmy?
I talked to Jimmy. He's in Florida, so we talk back and forth like once a week. He says he misses us. He misses New York. I say I'll see you when I'm down in your area, and he says, I'll see you when I come up there. So as far as right now, he's down there and I'm here, and we haven't really hooked up yet. We just message each other and talk on the phone.
Do you play Riot the early Riot stuff?
We want to, but nobody knows it. And then it's like on nights like that when me and Louis play, it's like you just get up there and you never know what's going to happen. And Riot songs don't come up because there were three other guys up there who are a permanent house band. So I mean, we only play covers. They don't. Me and Louis want to play Riot songs, but because we don't see each other that much and the guys don't get together, you just, when it comes to your time to play, you just go up there and you just try and concentrate on something that everybody knows, and not everybody knows a Riot song except me and Louis. So we haven't gotten around to doing it yet, but we talked about it, but I know it and Louis knows it. Now we got to get those other guys to know it, and if that ever happens, if we ever have enough time, then we'll do it. But time is so tight on those Monday nights when you get up there and play. It's just like it's all we can do to find something all of us know, except aside from playing Riot songs. It's tough.
Trying to teach other people to know how to play them just takes a lot of practice for them.
Well, I think that. Well, if Louis and I can go up there and I mean, a lot of times I don't know the songs that they want. They just start playing the song and I don't know it, and I got to wing it. I just got to improvise. So I'm thinking they should do the same thing for a Riot song. But we haven't done it yet. But I think that if I'm able to improvise their songs, I think they should be able to improvise on a Riot song. That's what I think. It works both ways.
Well, I would possibly count Born to Be Wild as a cover to that original band that originally played it, and then trying to make it into the Riot version.
Well, didn't you tell me you liked our version of Born to Be Wild?
Well, yeah, and I thought that you still play that song to your shows.
Well, we do. I mean, it's a classic song, whether Riot put it on the album or not. I mean, everybody knows Born to Be Wild. So when I get up there and play it, it may not sound like the way we did it on the album, but I know it. I know enough to play it. All of us know enough to play. That's easy to play. That's just an old classic fast song. That's no big deal. We always liked that song, and I guess they were stuck for a track, and they couldn't write anymore. So we said, let's put Born to Be Wild on there as a fill-in track, and we did, and people seem to like it.
How is the progress going on the internet book that you're working on?
Oh boy, I keep putting more and more pictures on. I don't know if you've seen them or not. I think you have.
Yes, I do have.
Well, Phil wrote me an email saying he wants to do. He keeps saying what everybody's been saying for the last, I don't know, 6 months. Why don't you write a book and blah blah blah? So Phil wrote me. He emailed me and said, why don't we do a book? The hardest part would be getting someone to write it out. He says, I know somebody who can do that. So this was last weekend, so I wrote back, okay, I'm in, count me in, let's do it. So hopefully me and Phil are going to do this, because I have all the pictures, and he knows somebody can help with the words.
To me, it sounds really awesome for you to do that, because
yeah, I know.
Because it just tells the rest of the Riot stories and on Phil and your words too.
Yes, sir.
And I kept saying there's a lot of Riot fans that are kept reading some interviews of members that you have not been with, and I just kept saying, you know what? The only part of the story that is missing is the very beginning, and the person that holds that story is you and Phil.
How far in the beginning? Far in the beginning, or in the beginning? far in the beginning. Far in the beginning, there's only one person left, me. Yeah, plain old beginning with the band is Phil. But on a personal level, I'm the only one left that was around Mark. I'm the only one. This is before anybody, before Phil, before the thought of Riot even became an idea. I mean, me and him just did a lot of different things together, and played down the basement. Just sometimes just him on the guitar, me on the drums, just for the hell of it. Then once in a while, his family would come over. His father's brother would come over, and he would sing old Frank Sinatra tunes. So, and then he had a cousin who lived in the neighborhood, and he was a great bass player. So it was he would come over. So if he came over, and we had four of us, that was like a big night. But sometimes it would only be just me and Mark down there, just sitting there, and just making noise,
Just making noise on the neighborhood?
Just making noise in his house, playing, yeah.
Oh. Do you still play shows in San Antonio, or do you wish that you would still play shows with San Antonio?
No, I don't play shows in San Antonio. I just go there for vacation and visit my friends.
Oh. How did the album Narita got out of print in America on vinyl?
I think about that time they weren't sure what was going to be happening, so they really didn't. The other record company didn't take it over, so the ones that were printed were out there, either got distributed or people kept them and they didn't make any more. So I personally have some European ones and American ones, and they were given to us when they first came out. So the people in the band got first copies of things where nobody else did. So I kind of like hang on to all the stuff that I have. But you got to remember, it was on Fire Sign Records. That was the record label that they set us up on, Fire Sign. And then the idea was to sell that to a major label. You see, that was the whole plan.
Uh-huh.
And then, it was on different labels in different countries. Here it was Fire Sign. It was Attic in Canada, Victor in Japan, EMI in Europe, and so on and so on. So they got deals with these foreign record companies by going to the Me Dem festival, and they sold it. Billy and Steve would go to France and have this. They sold the band at the convention that they have every year. So it was on different labels throughout the world, but it started with Fire Sign. That's a label that they started, because they felt that they could definitely secure us a major record deal, and then they would get a piece of the action too along the way.
Well, I pretty much answered all of my questions.